Welcome into the At the Yard podcast, episode 114 with my guy, GCU Head Coach Greg Wallis. Wally, man, thank you for doing this. I know we had you on, I think it was COVID a few years ago, but different seat nowadays, and but same smiley face. So thanks for doing this, brother.
Yes, I am happy to be here. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man. Well, so I wanted to start with, LA guy, Chatsworth High School. You end up playing at Irvine. For Coach Savage down there. Did Fullerton not recruit you? Like I was looking through this stuff and I'm like, was Fullerton not in the mix there? Because I know you end up coaching there, but
yeah,
were they not in the mix in the recruiting process?
No. Well, and I also played for Coach Serrano as well at Irvine. So he was the recruiting coordinator at Fullerton. So he gives me a hard time. It was actually Jason Gill, Coach Gill, that started the recruiting process with me to go to Irvine, and he was from Cal State Fullerton. He saw me play at Cal State Fullerton, and he was the first phone call that I received from Irvine, and then Coach Savage obviously got involved as well. But Coach Serrano always gives me a hard time that he saw me play, but at the time Irvine was just starting up, and so we joke around about that a lot, but. Yeah, no, not too much from Fullerton.
Yeah, no, interesting. Okay, I just want to clear the air there, but really successful career there at Irvine. Then, I mean, you jumped into coaching right after that, huh? I mean, you just go from playing right into coaching there at Irvine. Was that the process, or did you mix in some other opportunities there?
Yeah, I got really lucky. I finished my playing career, and I was really fortunate. I had a sister at the time living in Huntington Beach with her husband. The coaching staff at the time was Coach Serrano, Greg Bergeron, Sergio Brown, and Chad Baum. And I think it was either Bomber or Coach Serrano that asked me to stick around and work some camps in the summer. And I did that. And then that just turned into kind of staying on staff with them as, in my early years. I believe I was a student assistant my first year, then director of operations, then eventually volunteer assistant. For those staffs at Irvine and Fullerton. So really just I feel like I got really fortunate that I was asked to work some summer camps, and that turned into a career in college baseball. So can't thank those guys enough for inviting me out to work camps.
Yeah, well, you talk about your careers. You fast forward through stops at Fullerton, including a College World Series, Tennessee, GCU, and then still at GCU, 19 years, man. I mean, that's a pretty significant career in college baseball that you've carved out.
Yeah. It's crazy to think that it's been that long, and most of it now has been at GCU. I got to GCU the summer of 2013, and with Coach Stankiewicz, and I mean, we're going into the 2025 season, so a big bulk of that. I started at Irvine and went to Fullerton, went to University of Tennessee. And then I've been at GCU, a small stint at Ohio State, about 3 weeks, but I've been at GCU ever since 2013. It's been amazing to be here.
Yeah, did you go to the coaches portal, or what happened there at Ohio State? A little 3-week pit stop.
3 weeks. No, that's when I took the job with Coach Mo and to go out there, and Coach Stankiewicz went to SC, and they called me to come interview and for the head coaching job. And so 3 weeks was, I think it was at 24 days actually as an employee of Ohio State. And I got to come back here. I felt like a football coach, it was like I was all around the country. And then I got to kind of come back to where I'd been for the last decade and take over the head coaching role.
So what was that process like? Was that your first head coaching interview, A, and then B, had they already kind of started that process, or were you kind of like their first call?
No, I think, I had interviewed for the first time for a head coaching job the summer before. I interviewed at Utah Valley University, and then got pretty far down the line with that. And then the next summer is when this happened. And I believe I don't think they interviewed too many people. I know that it was me, and I think maybe one other candidate, but I think the transfer portal is crazy in all different ways, but one of them is coaching hires. And I think one of the things that helped me kind of get the job so quickly, it was really, I interviewed, I believe, on July 5th. And I got the job on July 9th or something like that. It was really quick. And I'm very thankful for the administration for for moving that quickly, because we had a lot of great players in the transfer portal. Jacob Wilson, Homer Bush Jr. There was a couple other really good ones, but those guys, and I don't think they were wanting to wait a really long time to make a decision. So, I think GCU administration did that quickly, and we were able to get those guys back and have a great year my first year as a head coach, because we had great players. So.
So now now you've been there in the head role there. I mean, with all the madness that's going on with regards to, you touched on it, the transfer portal, this potential ruling that just happened the other day with the football player at Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is kind of guessing. Nobody really knows. You finally got some answers though, with regards to roster size, things like that. So you kind of got thrown in the fire, right? You haven't been there very long as the head guy. You've been there, but just not as the head coach now very long. And then all this kind of tumultuous start, but then you got a coach and you guys have really successful seasons. It seems like you've had a lot thrown at you.
Yeah, it's moving quickly. Every day it seems like there's a new rule or a new change, and it's hard to keep up with, but you gotta keep up with it, and you gotta figure out what the rules that we're able to play with are, and make the best of it. So there's so many changes happening with the 34-man roster and the potential for more scholarships, the transfer portal, the new rulings, but you just got to get really informed on what you can do, what you can't do, and then how you want to operate your program. And I think that's where we're in the phase of right now, is figuring out, this 34-man roster, the increase is in scholarship, possibly the NIL world, and how you want to, what vision you have to run your program with these new rules, because they're here and it looks like they're here to stay. So you can't stick your head in the sand to them. You got to figure out, what your program's about and how you want to operate in these times.
Did you, kind of knowing that that's coming next year, did you operate your program differently this fall, kind of with an eye on next year? Like, okay, hey, there's this potential of roster limitations. We should maybe kind of do a dry run, maybe on a day, maybe throughout the fall.
Yeah. Well, we, the 34-man, you talking about the 34-man roster?
Right.
Yeah. That kind of got thrown back and forth, because at first everyone heard, hey, it's 34-man roster. And then a judge kicked that back. So we were kind of in limbo for quite a while until November, when they said, no, it looks like it's going to be solidified that it's a 34-man roster. So that was difficult, because you were kind of like looking what other people were doing and saying you don't want to fall behind, but you didn't want to get too aggressive. So I think we were a little less aggressive than a normal year in recruiting, but we still felt we signed what we needed to sign, and we didn't want to feel like we were passing on guys that we needed. Now we were just a little bit more conservative than most years, I think.
But I guess more so in terms of how you ran the structure of your fall camp practices.
Oh.
Did that change anything in terms of, okay, we have X number of bodies here, let's try to maybe play it as though we're going to have these number of bodies, next year or anything? Or is that more of a, we'll cross that bridge when we come?
No, we didn't change anything from that perspective. It was more monitoring kind of the incoming, what's going to happen with all the incoming, classes and the incoming recruiting. And then, just really kind of figuring out, who's graduating, who you think's going to get drafted, just kind of having to be more precise than probably in the past, because 34 is that's 6 less than 40. Obviously you got to be a bit more precise.
Right. Well, you can't miss, right?
Right.
The opportunity to miss is kind of diminished there for you. So with that, does that, how does that impact, who you're recruiting? Knowing that, hey, we got a hit on more guys than we miss on, which, you do in normal years, but that bell curve, I guess, is shifted in a different direction.
Yeah. I think it changes quite a bit with, 34. I think it's going to be need-based a lot now. You might possibly really like a guy and not be able to get him because you just don't have necessarily a need or a projected need at that position. And it's I don't have the best answer yet. We're going to have to kind of navigate this thing, as it goes. And it's and kind of just see where your team's at and what you need. I think for us, it'll slow things down a little bit, but we've always been a little bit slower than most. So I don't know that it's going to change a ton of what we do. I think we're just going to go a bit slower and have to be a bit, more sure, like you said, that this player can come in and help us right away with a 34-man roster. The unfortunate thing is that I think we lose the ability a little bit to take some shots on developing guys that might not be ready right away. And we've been successful in that. So I think that's where it's going to be a real challenge is, I think it's going to be harder to sign a guy who you see as a guy that can be on your 40, get a whole fall with you. And maybe he's number 38 to 40, number 36 to 40, goes through the fall, goes out to summer ball, comes back, and now jumps into kind of that, that maybe top 10 on the mound or top 12 on the mound. Yeah. Those might be harder. I think you can probably get less of those type of guys, which should make everything else stronger. So the junior college level, I think, is going to get stronger, and guys will, I think there'll be more really good players available because of these restrictions.
Yeah, and I'm glad you bring that up because all the coaches I talk to kind of say the same thing, right? It's like we have to win now, essentially, right? And so the opportunity to develop guys, those guys that you mentioned, right, that you guys have had a lot of success with, and a lot of West Coast programs, quite frankly, have had a lot of success with those types of players. Those types of players are very likely going to be funneled to the JUCO ranks, which, as a baseball guy, that's awesome because now these JUCO programs are going to be loaded even more so here in Southern California where it's already a good a good game, if you will. But in terms of recruiting, do you kind of pivot now a little bit more towards the JUCO with an eye still on the high school guys? And what are some of the important elements when you kind of make those decisions when it comes to GCU and kind of the roster you're building out?
Yeah, I think for us, it's I don't know that too much is going to change for us except for less on the roster. I think for us, it's looking at your roster, projecting the next year. Like in our 2023 recruiting class, the guys that are on campus right now, we went more heavy on junior college side because we felt like we were going to lose a lot of older players. We played a lot of seniors last year or fifth year guys. And we wanted to be able to kind of plug in some guys that were more experienced right away. So I want to say this is just a guess, but 65-70% of our signing class last year were older guys. We're junior college guys, a couple portal guys. It was still, some really talented freshmen mixed in there. Now, kind of if you look at our next class, there were only 2 junior college guys, and it was just more high school based. Because we felt like now those junior college guys are going to be seniors and we'll be able to kind of take these talented high school guys and we'll have enough experience. So for us, I think it depends on the year and what the roster looks like, projecting the roster into next year of where we feel like we might need to get some older help. We might need some experience and where we can take some shots with some high school kids. And I feel like we got some really good high school ones. And that's, we're always going to do a mix of both, Les, where I think we're going to go get the plug and play ready JUCO guy that can come in and contribute. And then the high school kid that we hope can get into our program and develop. And what I always liken it to is we're looking in for the high school kids that, if you use a football analogy, maybe they're a 3-star right now, but can they get into the program and be that 4 or 5-star guy in 2 or 3 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think one of the main things you're talking about there is just the constant roster evaluation, roster assessment. But I mean, you flip that on its head from a parent, player standpoint. I mean, that's really important too, right? I mean, if you're talking to a school, it's really important to know who do they have on their roster? Who do they have coming in? And particularly at your spot, right? I mean, I think a lot of parents and players don't take enough time to make that assessment of schools that they're, desiring to go to, A, and then B, the ones that are actually talking to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's always good to have a knowledge of, kind of where the program's at roster wise. And then it's also, it's always going to be about competition. So I think that if a school's talking to you and for the most part, I know if we get someone on campus, we feel like they have a chance to compete, and there might be guys ahead of them, but if they come in and compete and earn it, then they can, get that too. Now there's certain cases. We got a shortstop, Emilio Barreras, and there's other guys that he just was the first one that popped in my head. And, for a freshman to come in and beat him out this year, it won't happen because he's got 2 years of track record. He was all Tucson regional, but they can compete against him. And then, they get better by competing against him for time. And then maybe they move to second or third or wherever we have a opening or there's an injury, and they're getting better, because they're competing against like that. So I think yes, you don't want to go in blind somewhere and say, I just have no shot to play here. But you also want to, as long as you're going to get the ability to compete and prove yourself, then I think sometimes it's like, go, maybe you don't play right away as a freshman, go make your mark in the program and do something where the coach wants to put you, give you a little time as a freshman, go out to summer ball, you come back and you're in the mix as a sophomore. So
it's like going to, using another football adage, right? I mean, practice field is where the playing time is earned, right? So it's like,
absolutely.
I mean, you go earn it, right? So I mean, I like that, but let's kind of pivot to like data and technology, if you will.
Yeah.
How much of it are you guys using? What are you guys using? I'm assuming I can make some assumptions, but I'm just curious, what are you guys using? What are you using it for? Take us through that.
Yeah, so we use a lot of it. Our pitching coach, Nathan Bannister, is really big on the pitching side with the technology. So in our stadium unit, we have Yacker Tech, which is very similar to TrackMan, but we use that in our stadium. And then in the bullpen, we have both Rhapsodo. We have access to TrackMan, so we don't use TrackMan all the time, but we'll bring it in once every month or so, a couple weeks, and kind of compare the Yacker Tech and TrackMan data. There's a little bit of a difference between that on the mound, but he'll do Rhapsodo in the bullpen, he'll do TrackMan in the bullpen, he'll do Yacker Tech on the main diamond, and then for hitting, we'll use the Yacker Tech data that we collect because we're in Arizona, we have the great weather, so we're always hitting on the field. We don't go indoors, so we can use our stadium unit with the Yacker Tech, for hitting. And then we also have, our video programs. We have Synergy and we have True Media that are just such great player development tools. Synergy, we really only use it during the regular season, but everything just gets logged. Our analytics team logs all the video from every at bat in these systems, and in the fall and in the regular season. So we use those too for player development. So we're kind of using everything.
Yeah, no, Synergy is awesome. They work with us on quite a few different things. But so I'm curious how much, I mean, you guys, it sounds like certainly on the pitching side, obviously some on the hitting side, but more so on the pitching side, the data and the analytics, pretty valuable for you guys. How much are you guys looking into that when you're evaluating prospects and recruits, like either on the high school side or, on the JUCO side, on the D1 side, even guys that are in the portal?
Yeah, I think it definitely helps us. And I'm going to speak the pitching side, more so. I think you kind of see some of those, spin metrics and all that stuff. And I think it's something we love to see, but it's not going to, solely base our decision. Myself, I still like just going and watching and, kind of evaluating and having a catalog of what I think this player looks like at this point in their career compared to some of the great players that I've coached, whether it was at Irvine, Fullerton, Tennessee, or here at GCU, and kind of watching the movement, watching, how they compete and their actions, and their tools, their raw tools. But then when you throw both that in and you have those metrics too, it just helps I think it helps make decisions a little bit better. And on the mound, I think is more so the case where we really like getting those all those metrics.
Yeah, and I'm assuming you probably you like the availability of like for us, for example, you go to a prep baseball profile, it's TrackMan, it's verified legit data. same with the hitting side versus, say exit velo off a tee or something. And
no doubt.
Yeah, you're getting the exit velo there from a TrackMan and all that stuff. So yeah, no, that's what kind of we try to tell guys is, this is verified, legit data that, a lot of the schools are using already, and, they're certainly looking at. So yeah, I was just curious as to how you guys use it, but let's pivot a little bit even further now. Talk about further about GCU. Hey, by the way, dude, happy birthday! A little bit belated.
Yeah,
I saw it on Facebook, and you can believe everything you read on Facebook, right? So I'm assuming it's real. So happy belated birthday!
42 years old in 2 days. So 2 days ago, I turned 42. So I'm 42 plus 2 days.
Wow, so, attaboy. Yeah, you don't look a day over 41.
Thank you. I just got a haircut. That's why.
Yeah, you're clean. So happy birthday on that one. But yeah. Oh man, I kind of lost my train of thought there. But so you guys, you wrapped up fall. Obviously, how did your fall go? Like, take us through your fall. What's got you excited about GCU? Heading into 2025. And then I got to ask you about my boy Paulie P over there too. But let's talk about the fall first. How did the fall go for you guys? Excitable, newcomers that got you excited coming out of the fall. Maybe some returning guys that also have you excited for their potential next year.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought we had a great fall. I think that we had a really good year last year. We won our league by 5 games, and then we made it to the Tucson Regional Championship, which was a new thing for us. We hadn't won a postseason NCAA regional game yet, and last year, we did. We won 2, and we got to that final 32 teams. And I thought I felt a sense of that postseason feel kind of be more real this fall. That we would have had to beat them twice, but we had a chance to make it to a super regional last year and be one of the final 16 teams. And I did feel like this group, having gone through that experience, gained just really valuable experience, because we have a lot of guys back from that. Our whole left side of the infield, Eli Payton and Emilio Barreras, Zach York at first base, our center fielder now, Eddie Pelk, Michael Diaz, who's going to be playing a lot. Cannon Peary is going to be playing every day for us. He went through that. Isaac Line. We just had so many guys that got to kind of experience, that regional atmosphere, maybe for the first time. We still had some guys that had been through it with us in 22 when we went out to Oklahoma State, but we went 0-2 there. So I think touching on a little success in the postseason, having that hunger, that was pretty cool, and we want to do it again and go a step further. I felt a really good focus from this group. So I think that from our fall is what I could say the best was. I wanted to say that everything they did with focus, and I really appreciated the way they got after it on the field, all fall. And I think we learned a lot about our team, but you know how it goes. January is going to come, and then the real bullets start flying, and you're going to have to evaluate, what you got to get better at then. But I liked our effort and I liked our focus, and I think that's a great starting point, with the returners that we have back.
You mentioned a few SoCal guys there, Peyton, Pelk. The list goes on and on, right? I mean, York's a NorCal guy. I mean, what is it with the California guys? Is that something you have an affinity to, being a SoCal guy, or is I mean, I'm just curious, right? I'm a SoCal guy, and so like for me to see guys from California at out of state schools doing well for themselves, I mean, that's exciting for me. I'm an old guy that remembers the days when guys from Southern California didn't leave Southern California and have success. They had success here. So like for me, it's always interesting to see that. I mean, is that something that you're intentional about in recruiting? I mean, obviously I see you everywhere in Southern California, but I mean, is that something you're intentional about in recruiting?
Yeah, I think it's just natural place for us to recruit, right? We obviously, number one, want to focus on Phoenix and the state of Arizona. Phoenix is where most of the players are, but Phoenix and Tucson, and we've got a good amount of guys from Phoenix and Tucson. Obviously, the majority of our team is always going to be from the state, but then when you branch out, Southern California is going to be probably our next biggest crop of guys, and we do have quite a few from Southern California with, Marcus Galvan, who's also from SoCal. He'll be playing and starting for us behind the plate, Peyton Pelk. And there's others that in our recruiting class, we got a couple. We got one from Fullerton College, who was over with Bomber. So well, first of all, it's a quick drive there. Number one, two, they all come here to these tournaments. And obviously I still have a lot of connections there from my, growing up there playing baseball in the Valley and Chatsworth High School, and then coaching at Irvine and Fullerton. So it just makes sense for us. It's a great baseball area. So I think Phoenix, and it's, when I got here, that's one of the reasons why Coach Stankwitz, when I was at Tennessee, and he said, hey, if we recruit Phoenix and Southern California really well, we can be really good here. And I said, yeah, I agree with you. And that's why I decided to come here in 2013 when we didn't really have much. We didn't have this stadium, but we felt we had the weather. We had the playing surface has always been amazing. And so we felt like if we could recruit Phoenix and Southern California really well, that we could build a really consistent, program. And I think that's what we've done. And that's what we're going to continue to do. And it doesn't hurt when it's so hot here in the summer for me to be able to tell my wife, hey, let's hop in the car. We're going to Great Park for the weekend. So she never says no to that trip. Or you got to love thank you to the the SoCal Scouting Association for always putting their event up there in Westmont, because we get to go up there and spend a weekend. So I think it's just natural for us to recruit SoCal players, and they're really good.
You talked, Wally, about a couple of the things you didn't have when you first got there, but it seems like you guys have always had administrative support. It just seems like the athletics department, the support it gets from the university itself, but I mean, then obviously the administrators within the athletic department, just seems like it's always been top notch. I mean, just from the outside looking in, not just your program, but the entirety of the athletics department.
They're so first class, and they're so supportive, and they care. So, obviously this is the only place I've been a head coach, and now I've been here the bulk of my career. But I do know that, Jamie Boggs, she's our athletic director, and she cares about every single sport. So it's cool. Like we're a great community, and she's built a great culture here where we're not just on an island in baseball. We support each other. You want to support your other sports, the softball team, the basketball team, the women's basketball, everybody, the volleyball team. Our men's volleyball coach was named the National Coach of the Year. And I think that's something that our administration has done a great job building that culture where it is about the community. And so obviously our first priority is the baseball program, but they support us, and they support, when I say our, I mean, my priority is obviously the baseball program, but the support you feel from the admin side, and that they care about you and they care about every sport here is palpable. And I think it's a cool thing about GCU.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's visible because you see billboards out in, like Riverside, for example, for GCU athletics, or, you see it driving on the 91 or the 57 out here in SoCal. And you're just kind of like, man, I mean, that's a serious commitment, right? I mean, you guys are going out of state to try to recruit some of these young people to go to school there. And, as someone who has known kids that have gone to school there, I've heard that the school environment is top notch as well. So, I mean, it seems like it has a lot of momentum as not only an athletics department, but also as a school itself. And I mean, being in the mix of that, in the position that you're in, I mean, going into 2025, you got to be pretty excited about kind of the prospects of, coming off the year you guys had, the fall you had with the focus with these players. You have it seems like you have a perfect kind of storm brewing there at GCU.
Yeah, definitely. The community is great. On campus is great. And we always tell our recruits that, like, we want to get you here when students are here. And a lot of the SoCal guys, they get here in the summer because they're coming to tournaments. And I always tell them, we're not even going to take you around right now. We're going to come and we're going to bring back in the fall, because it's really a cool community. It's a great place to walk around. It's a great place to go to a basketball game and see that environment, but really just see the on-campus community is vibrant because everyone lives here on campus. So, or I shouldn't say everyone, but the majority of ground students live on campus and all the housing. So it really is a cool place to kind of be and walk around. And, yeah, no, we're really excited. Now we got a really tough schedule, but yes, we're excited about 25. So we looked at that schedule and we went, wow, what do we do here? But we're definitely excited about it. So.
Well, you got to earn, like you said to your players, right? You got to earn it, right? So
Yeah.
you want
Why not?
the regional, you got to earn it, right? But
Right.
let's kind of flip back to recruiting, if we will. Just the last
Yeah.
couple of questions on this, and you've talked about a lot of different things with portal, with NIL, with high school kids. I mean, you were once in these kids' shoes, being recruited, and obviously it's a different world now. But what would you say to kids that are still interested in playing Division I college baseball? Obviously, it's a harder road. It's going to be more challenging now than ever, I think, to play Division I baseball on some levels. But I just, a lot of coaches have been very, kind of expressive in their remorse for kids now. Some guys, just kind of like, hey, you just got to roll with it. I'm just curious what your take is. I'm kind of a, let's look at this from a half full perspective.
Yeah, I think number one, it always comes down to, and if you love to play the game, right? And if you love the game, and if it's just in your DNA, then keep working and keep playing, and find the right spot for you. And maybe that's a junior college, or maybe that's. I look at our class that we just signed, and we've got 8 high school kids, and I'm thrilled about it. And so I'm hoping that actually maybe in some of this chaos, like when you do find a spot, guys will really dig in and appreciate it. And I know our goal is that we want to get these guys, we want to pour into them, we want to develop them, and we want to retain them, right? So that's what I'm hoping for. Now there's a lot of good places, and there's a lot of great college baseball being played. So I think that for kids that are in high school and that have aspirations to play at the Division I level or at the college level, start digging in and kind of looking at what the college level's like. And it's not just the SEC and the big time schools. There's great baseball being played all over the country, and especially you go Southern California, Arizona, between the D1s, and I mean you can drive 30 miles in SoCal and have an outstanding program with outstanding coaches. And out here, we only have 3 D1s, but we have amazing junior colleges out here. So I just think if you love to play, then continue to develop, continue to play the game that you love. And then, it won't always, might not always be at the D1 level, but there's still opportunities out there, and go out and perform. And if you're, continue to improve and see where you're at. And that's the thing. If you love to play, there's a place for you.
Wally, one thing on that, like, I mean, I'm old enough to remember, Travis Lee playing ball at San Diego State. I'm sure you remember some guys playing ball in college when you were growing up. Like, do you think take it back the last 5 years, like in your meeting with a lot of kids, you're talking to a lot of kids, recruiting guys, do you feel as though a lot of kids spend a lot of time watching baseball? Or is it more so just like playing baseball versus like watching and learning the game?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think, well, I would say this. I don't know. I think guys like to go to big league games if they can, and or out here, we've got the spring training games, so guys love to go to spring training games. But I always tell guys, like, I wanted our guys. I say we had the what was it? Not the Futures game, the Fall League, the AZ Fall League All-Star game was at GCU. And I told our guys, it was the same night as one of the World Series games. And I challenged our guys, hey, I know you guys love to watch the World Series, and so do I. I said, but these guys are closer to you right now than Aaron Judge is. Come watch what they look like, and come pick their game and see what can you add to your game from the guy who's 21 years old playing in the the AZ Fall League All-Star game, and try to get on that path so that you can eventually get there. I think that's one of the reasons that I've enjoyed a career in coaching, or that I have a career in coaching, because I loved amateur baseball. Like, I remember I'd go watch high school games before I was in high school, and I wanted to see, like, what does Chatsworth High School look like? I was dying to go to Chatsworth High School and play for Coach Musborn, and I didn't just show up on campus. I went and I watched as many games as I could because I loved it. That excited me more than going to a Dodger game. I liked the Dodgers too. And then when I got to high school, I any chance I got, I went to Cal State Northridge games, and I as soon as I got a car, I was driving out to UCLA. I made my dad take me to a regional game at USC. Michael Moon, I think, hit a walk-off. It was great, right? And I was trying to study, like, what is it? That's where I want to go. That's what, what do these guys look like? And I think, like, I tell that we've got a camp tonight, and I always say that to our campers, like, go watch. It's our Arizona guys, go watch a Central Arizona game, a South Mountain, game. Come to our games, go to ASU games, and see what the players at this level look like, and the physicality and the way they go about the game, and then go and work on that and take that to your game. So, that's, I think, I don't know if they do, but I think they should. And I think they should watch the next level that they want to be at, not obviously be a fan of Major League Baseball, but go watch the next level that you want to be at. If you're in high school, go to your local, college games, go to their practices. Most, I mean, our doors are open. I feel like most D1 programs doors are open for you to just come watch us work. So,
yeah. I find that, like, to be a really fascinating topic, right? And, like, one I deal with my own son, and it's kind of like, okay, we take him to a high school game, and he watches for about an inning, then he's off playing, handball with his boys, and it's like, dude, no, like, we'll get there eventually, I think. But Wally, last thing I wanted to ask you is, my guy Paulie Panachone, obviously you have an affinity for Prep Baseball Arizona guys. How's our guy Paulie P holding up over there?
He's awesome. He's he's walking by windows right here. He's setting up for camp tonight. We've got a nice high school camp, and Paul Panachone is awesome. He's a great infield coach. He bleeds Grand Canyon purple, and I'm really fortunate to have him on the staff. He played here when I got here. He was the shortstop. He was a sophomore. As a freshman, he was playing shortstop, and Coach Stanky recruited him because I think he reminded Stank. You could ask Stank this sometime. He's told me, though, he probably reminded Stanky of himself in high school, right? He was this great football player that was a great athlete, and Andy had the vision. Let's get this guy who's this great athlete, and he's a baseball guy. Let's put him at shortstop and just let him play. And there's a great story. He came to Grand Canyon when they were Division II, and he got to play every day at Grand Canyon his freshman year. And then I came here his sophomore year. We were D1, but we weren't quite playing the schedule we do now. And he got to play every day his sophomore year and develop. And then he came back, went to summer ball in Alaska, came back year 3, and went from a great defensive shortstop, great athlete, to a professional prospect in year 3. And he was all first team all conference. We were fortunate to have him back his senior year, and he got drafted by the Nationals, I think, in the top 10 rounds, and then decided he wanted to come back and coach. And he's been his attention to detail on the infield side is awesome. He works his butt off with our infielders, and they love him. And the base running, he's doing base running with us and helps out with hitting. He throws amazing batting practice. So it's like the guys that, they love, they probably better have my group today. So he's just all around. I can't say enough. He's a great coach. He's extremely loyal coach, and he's great for the players that love him. So he's just doing great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But great story of a guy that came in on a D2, developed, like you've been, like, kind of was the theme of this whole podcast, right? It was just continue to develop, and good things are going to happen to you. But Wally, man, I know we're up against the holidays here with Christmas and in a few days, and I wanted to sneak this one in, so I can't thank you enough for doing this, and really appreciative of you taking some time to do this, especially with the camp tonight, and a birthday a couple days ago, and I know you're a busy guy, so I appreciate you doing this, man.
Thanks, Les. No, I enjoy coming on these, and anytime. So thank you so much.
All right, man. Have a great holiday with your family, and we'll talk to you soon.
You too. I'll talk to you later.